The Angry Marks Podcast Network is brought to you by WrestleWork at WrestleWork.com.
You're listening to Thursday Night AMP on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
When it comes to blood, we've talked to Nigel McGuinness about this on the show, and he strongly believes that there should be no more bloodshed in professional wrestling, and that too many risks are out there, bloodborne diseases and things like that when you get cut open and one guy's bleeding and another guy's bleeding. So, again, I'm not criticizing CZW. I watch it. I've enjoyed it. But at the same time, do you ever worry about that when you think back on some of the stuff that you've been through in CZW?
I can understand the argument to it, but I don't really think about it too much. I think there's a time and a place for it. But there's times where like a face covered in blood on a certain camera angle is like art in a sick, sadistic way. Like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels submission. I think Bret Hart and Stone Cold submission match. So that's one of the best bloodshed faces ever.
Right.
They kind of captured
when Steve
that.
Austin went out and he wouldn't submit. He just passed out with his face covered in blood.
Exactly. Like that was just a beautiful moment right there, which made his career. But I think there's a time and a place for it, and when used right, it can be mind blowing. It can work very well, and it can benefit a certain wrestler. But I definitely I don't really care for it when it's like 3 or 4 times on a show, or when it's like overdone so much. And on WWE programming, they have it to the certain point, like a great point right now. If like there was one person to bleed in a really, really big blood feuded match, it would be like the most monumental thing ever. So I think that would work out really well. But I feel like being overdone kills it, just like anything. Just like having too many gimmick matches throughout the year can kill that type of match, the match stipulation.
Right. Yeah, that would be like if they had a Royal Rumble match every single month instead of once a year. Nobody would care about it in January. It wouldn't mean anything.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so back to Jordan. I want to give him another chance to step up to the mic and grab the spotlight. So, Jordan, go ahead.
Today on YouTube, I watched the top 40 moves of Shane Strickland, and it makes me ask you, there's 2 types of wrestling, like you're more like of a high flyer and all that. You kind of find it harder to call spots while you're doing all these amazingly athletic maneuvers rather than just old school wrestling?
I'll say that one more time because David started being rude and talking.
No, you heard it.
Sorry.
Well, I think what Jordan was trying to get across was how do you combine the high-flying moves that you do? Like he said, he saw the top 40 moves of Shane Strickland on YouTube, and then at the same time being able to call a match while you're doing those high-flying moves.
That's all about body conditioning. It's being able to remember those things when you're tired and when you're like having to pick people up and slam them and throw these nice fluent kicks and then have to do a flip later on. It's all about body conditioning. Like for me, that's what helped me. Being in the gym helped me out so much more. Just being able to lift certain weight and then have clear breathing. Like breathing control really helps with that. And it also helps with early on in training, I used to just like do all these cardio things and then do all these cardio exercises on the outside, then run in the ring and then run a spot and then jump back out and then like continue cardio exercises. So keep my mind sharp. So now it's not so bad. It's not even about memory as much anymore. It's about like my muscle memory. I can feel when it's time to do certain things. I react to what's happening next instead of like thinking about it.
All right, Jordan, go ahead.
I wanted to sidetrack to some names of CCW that you think of. What are your thoughts on Devin Moore?
On Devin Moore?
Yeah.
Oh, great guy. Great guy. He'll like when he respects you and when he really, really genuinely likes you as a person and as a competitor, he'll do anything for you. He'll take whatever nasty fall, go through anything, and he'll also take care of you as well, so you won't die as well. So, because he's been putting some of the most dangerous matches in CZW's history, as well as like other places like IWA, Mid-South death matches and stuff. So he's a big supporter of mine, and I'm a huge supporter of his. And with that, we were willing to just go out there and do whatever and come out okay.
Independent wrestling, obviously, is continuing to grow. Some people would agree, some would disagree. But you're wrestling for CZW now. You're making a name for yourself. You're also wrestling for a lot of other promotions around that area. But like besides the WWE, which promotions which you haven't worked for, what ones would you like to work for?
I'd definitely like to. I would like to try. I always wanted to try Ring of Honor. Always wanted to. I have a lot of good friends there, and I would always desperately want to jump in on that product. I don't know when or how or if it would ever happen, but I would definitely like to try Ring of Honor. New Japan had a phenomenal pay-per-view with Wrestle Kingdom, and that just like one of probably the biggest place you could go as far as the independent level, or international level. I think that's definitely a place I'd like to go. I also want to try AAA as well. Like I'm a big international fan. I love wrestling in America. I love wrestling in America, but I'm definitely big on international. I definitely want to try those big arenas for AAA, and then like New Japan would be phenomenal. Like Dragon Gate Japan looks great. I always wanted to try those places. As far as America, I definitely wanted. I can't consider myself a success in pro wrestling on the independent level until I do Pro Wrestling Guerrilla.
Stevie, back to you.
Yeah, by all means, get booked on a Pro Wrestling Guerrilla show and let me know that you're going to be on it, because I'm dying to make a trip back out to California, and if I could see you on a PWG show, I'll book a flight to California and go out there and be there at that show.
I appreciate that support, man.
Well, I appreciate you, and I appreciate Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, so the two of you together would be something truly spectacular. Oh,
I'd have a ball over there.
Yeah, it's one of the most interactive experiences I've ever had as a wrestling fan. People say that, and I know we had Mike Davidson on in the first hour, and he talked about wrestling fan experience being for the fans, interactive with the fans. Well, if it's anything like PWG, that's saying something, because the wrestlers will yell at you, you'll yell at them. The crowd is part of the show as much as the wrestlers, and I know some people frown on that. I want to get your take on that, Shane, but for me, it was a true pleasure, because I've never felt more intimately involved in a wrestling event than when I went to PWG.
Man, I think it's beautiful. I think what they have is truly beautiful. I really do, because fans being a part of the show is what makes every dollar spent worth it for the fan. For them to be able to be as much part of the show as the wrestling. The slow motion spot is probably one of the greatest things I've ever seen, because the fans, if it wasn't for the fans being as involved with that as the guys in the match were, or the guys on commentary were, then it wouldn't be as fun. But they just made that so much more fun, and it just looks like what they have there is just so beautiful, and they built it up so well, and it's only going to continue to grow and get better.
And you got to look at the roster of people they've had there over the years. Just like you look at the roster of CZW. I mean, we talk about the Adam Coles and the Chris Heroes and yourself. The guys that have risen up from CZW to go on to other places. And PWG is the same way. I mean, if it wasn't for the run that Steen and Generico had in Ring of Honor and PWG, would they be where they are right now in NXT? And I can say no, because they got their shine off of working ROH and PWG, and people getting to love them that much.
This is true. It's true. They understand that these guys made a name for themselves in these places, and they're understanding more and more that the independent wrestling scene is really, really alive, and it's really, really it's building stars. You can't deny that. Me and Star were just talking about this a little while ago. CM Punk changed the game with everything. It put us on notice. Now on WWE Network, you're seeing WWE Live, studios being broadcasted on interviews. You're seeing CZW, clips being put on WWE Network and all that, You've seen the Ring of Honor Wrestling Dojo out there. So you can't deny it anymore. You can't be denied.
Well, you can't be denied either. So I want to give you this chance to plug everything that you've got coming up, because I know it's more than just this weekend. You've got a lot of shows ahead in the future, so whatever you want to plug, I want to give you that spotlight to go ahead and do it.
Alrighty. Pretty soon, it should be coming up at the end of this month. You'll have my website being brought up to the internet finally. I'm finally having a website. I gotta thank one of the guys from UK for helping me out with that. he did website work for a lot of guys. Name a few, I know he did one for Generico and Adam Cole and some other guys. That's just the name of some of his best work. But so you look out for Shane. Actually, SwerveStrickland.com. So look out for that. That'll be linking you to my Twitter account and Instagrams and YouTube footage. My pro wrestling tees is going to have all that on there, so you don't have to jump all the way around the internet to find my stuff or find anything Swerve related. You can just go to the website. You'll see it on the side. You'll see any other podcasts that I've been on or will be on in the future. You'll be right then and there, so it'll make it a lot easier. But till then, till that's up, you can always find me on Facebook under Shane Swerve Strickland. You can always find me on Twitter and Instagram at Strickland Shane. I repeat, at Strickland Shane. And you can check me out at Pro Wrestling Tees and buy some of my merch.
Yeah, buy a Swerve t-shirt by all means. Go out there and support Shane in his independent career and keep a lookout for him, because I got a feeling in a year or two's time, I'll be looking back on this interview and I'll be saying, man, we got to talk to Shane Strickland before he was the NXT champion.
Oh, God. Don't jinx me. Knock on wood right now.
I'm not trying to jinx you, but it has happened in the past. I mean, we've had a lot of people on before they got to that next level, so it could be you as well.
Here's hoping, man. Here's hoping.
All right. Well, Shane, I really appreciate the time tonight, and I hope we can have you back on again in the future before you blow up and forget about your friends on the independent scene. We'd love to have you back again.
Oh, appreciate it. Don't forget anybody. Trust me. Appreciate you for allowing me on.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Thanks, Shane. Have a great night and have a great weekend and continued success, and hopefully you get the chance to put on quite a showcase with the Young Bucks this weekend.
Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate that, and y'all have a blessed day.
You too. Take care.
Cheers.
All right. That was Shane Strickland right here on Thursday Night AMP, Jordan. 2 great interviews back to back. That's how we do on the week of the Royal Rumble. We get big interviews on this show.